Divorce is a great thing. Why? Well, because there was a need for divorce in the first place. Otherwise, it wouldn't be fathomed. So, for anybody who actually goes through such a process, as painful as it may be, they should always look at the silver lining. That is, they had the courage to go with their gut feeling, to go with their instinct, to go with what was right for them at the time. A lot of people treat love like business. I've heard the saying, love is law, family is business from a few people. And although I can understand that notion, I don't entirely agree with it because for me, love is not business at all. And it's not law. Law comes under love, not love under law. And so you have a lot of sterile relationships because people are treating relationships as businesses. So the love is lacking. Whereas if there was love, the law would come from that love, if that makes sense. So you can have law and love, but you cannot have love with just law. If you're coming from a law perspective, you cannot have love as well. If you're coming from a love perspective, you can have both love and law. So it's all about expectations, business. That's what that ego-based relationship is all about. And so you'll find a lot of relationships flatline because of that. Because a lot of people are looking at the relationship as a business. So they have expectations like a business would. And if those goals are not attained, then there's nothing else to rest on, is there? Whereas if there is love, genuine love, everything that occurs is icing on the cake. So you're functioning from a place of already having, not lacking and seeking. So for anybody out there who has come to the realization that they are in an unhappy relationship and they want out and they actually go through with that, you are a very, very, very brave person. Because a lot of people feel unhappy in, commitments, in relationships, in obligations. And obligation is a keyword because a lot of people live unhappily in life because they feel obliged. They feel they owe it to someone or something to live unhappily in a relationship, because should they not live unhappily in that relationship, somehow they would have failed. Well, the idea of you failing because you have a broken relationship comes from the ego, and the ego breeds guilt, and that is all coming from an ego-based guilt. That whole idea of, if I have a failed relationship, be it a marriage or whatever, then somehow it's wrong. It may appear imperfect to people, but remember, it's not about whether it is a good thing or a bad thing. It is what it is. It all depends on the perceiver. So whilst somebody may see a divorce or a breakup as a bad thing, if you ask Eddie, it's a great thing, because from my perception, whoever is involved that has parted ways, they have actually taken it upon themselves to go through with their feelings, because you cannot deny your feelings. Remember, falling in love, you cannot decide when you fall, but you can manage how you fall. And it's the same way exiting a relationship. You need to know, you need to be real with yourself, and you need to know that you're doing the things you're doing not because you're using your head, but because you're functioning with the heart. Because even when it comes to matters of the heart, if your heart is in a good place, you may be making decisions that on the surface appear wrong. And I like to say that you do the wrong things for the right reasons at times, as opposed to doing the right thing for the wrong reasons. So the world we live in is not black and white, it's not linear. It's very, very intricate, beautiful and complex. And so we always have to follow our intuition and align ourselves with the oneness of all so that we can receive the correct intuitions. So don't judge yourself if you're going through an unhappy relationship currently, or if you have just parted ways with somebody who you care for. Do not judge yourself. Do not feel like you have failed. Rather, you have succeeded because it had to happen. Otherwise, it would not have. Otherwise, you would not have felt the way you felt in order to part ways. Because no one in their right mind would want to part ways with somebody they care for and they have made an investment within life simply because they get bored. Nobody, no. And obviously, if you were using your head, which is all about the logic, which the heart defies, then you would remain with somebody who you're unhappy with simply because that is the dogma. Dogma dictates that you should live unhappily because you owe it to your ego. Did you know that? But now that, you know you can do better and, surpass that tendency of the ego. It's an ego trip. So be proud of yourselves out there, whether you're in a happy relationship, whether you're in an unhappy relationship, whether you're not in any sort of relationship at all. Just be happy being yourself and being at one in this moment in time, for every present is now. And you can only, I like to say, in regards to relationships as well, I like to say that, I am the sum total of my past experiences. So not only is my present now, but my present is my past. So I can learn through my experiences of the past to know my now better, to make decisions to avoid or to attract situations that I have had in the past, if that makes sense. It's all about you at the end of the day and the power of your mind. Your mind is so powerful. You as an entity are so powerful. Yet you would think so many people are powerless because you see them in unhappy lifestyles, in unhappy relationships. And it's not because they choose to be consciously, but subconsciously they do choose to be, because they know ultimately that they have the choice. It's not up to anybody else. You cannot expect somebody to fly out of the sky and save the day for you. You are that superhero. So you do have the power, but in accepting that power, it is a daunting experience, and that's why I'm sure a lot of people avoid it, accepting the power that they have, because then it's all down to you. It's all your responsibility. The decisions you make, the hearts you break, it's all down to you. So just be loud and proud for any of you out there who are single, for any of you out there who are in an unhappy relationship and are exiting that because you have decided enough is enough. And for all of you out there who are still finding yourselves, a lot of people fall into the trap of hoping somebody will find themselves for that person. Like me going out looking for somebody to help me find me. I can only do that if I find somebody who is on a similar mission to me trying to find themselves. Then of course we can both resonate and help each other expand even more. But a lot of people are hoping to find a savior on the outside, and the inside is the savior. But you need to accept that in order to make decisions about your life that fully confirms you are in control. So always treat relationships with love, not business. Because if you treat it with business, along comes dogma and along comes arrest. And that's ARREST, arrest, as in bondage. Peace.